Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Denae. I'm a stay-at-home mom to our son Gunnar, who is currently 2.5 years old. My husband and I actually conceived him through fertility treatments. We went through many years of treatments to get pregnant with him, and he was our first and only pregnancy. So we have been trying to grow our family for the past almost year without any luck, and so we are now back on the road to fertility, I guess. Fertility treatments, I don't know. We're going back through fertility treatments. We currently have 4 embryos left, and we are planning to do another frozen embryo transfer hopefully soon. I am kind of at a standstill right now with everything. I had to go back through some preliminary testing to start this journey again, because it had been like 8 years since we had originally started when we were trying to get pregnant with our son. And when I did my blood work recently, my TSH level was a little bit higher than what they would like to see.
It's working.
What's working? Okay, sorry, I don't know where I left off, but I think I was talking about my blood work. So my blood work came back, my TSH level was a little bit higher than what they wanted to see for somebody who's trying to get pregnant. So I'm currently taking Synthroid. So for the moment, everything is kind of at a standstill until that gets to the level they wanted at, and then we can go from there and proceeding with our next transfer. So today's video is a little bit, it's taking me out of my comfort zone today. It's actually a video that's in collaboration with Liv. I will link to her channel below. Her channel is called LIVJOYously, and she actually reached out to me. I cannot even talk. I'm already starting to get tongue-tied just like thinking about talking about this. Okay, so she reached out to me not that long ago on Instagram, and she had come across my channel. I think she said she found me through one of my baby name videos and had said that she and her husband have been on a journey to get pregnant as well, I think for about 1.5 years now. And they have actually gotten pregnant twice and have had 2 miscarriages. And she wanted to know if I would be open to doing a collaboration together. And the idea that she had come up with, or one of the ideas, was just kind of talking about how our faith has gotten us through the whole trying to conceive process, infertility, all of that. And I really was hesitant to talk about this, and I was like, oh, let me think on that for a little bit, because I just have not ever wanted to share that part of the process. The reason being is because it was a really difficult time for me. And I'm gonna try to get through this video without choking up, but can't make any promises. And also my allergies are acting up, so my eyes are watering, so I'm not crying yet, at least. But anyways, okay. So I don't know, I have not really opened up that much about what I went through, and I had to sit on it for a little bit, and I just kept feeling God like putting it on my heart to share. I don't know why. I mean, do we really know why we do a lot of the things we do through him? I mean, he just kept leading me to do this. And so I finally told her, I was like, okay, man, I'm gonna do this. I'm like nervous to do it, but I'm doing it. So anyways, we are collaborating today to share a little bit about our journey and just how our faith has gotten us through what is definitely a difficult time in our lives. And I really encourage you guys to head over to her channel and check her out, especially this particular video. I think a lot of you personally can relate to her, because I know a lot of you have shared with me your stories of just trying to get pregnant, whether you've gone through fertility treatments or not. I know a lot of you have shared just your stories of having miscarriages or dealing with certain medical issues and things like that. And I think a lot of you can relate to her, and I think that her video and her story is definitely something that will resonate with a lot of you. She does have PCOS, and I feel like that is something that we hear about a lot, and it's not something I've ever dealt with. I've also never dealt with a miscarriage, thank God, because I know it's so common and so many people go through it, and I just can't even imagine. So I definitely encourage you to check out her channel. She has talked a lot about just their trying to conceive process, and she has other videos on there as well. She does a lot of like lifestyle type videos. She's done some like grocery hauls and some unboxings and things like that. So I definitely encourage you guys to head over to her channel when you're done here and watch her, and perhaps give her a follow if her channel is of interest to you as well. I feel like I'm trying to prolong this whole like conversation. Okay, so let's get into my story. So if you're not familiar with like our whole journey of getting pregnant with Gunnar, I will keep it quick because I have shared that before, and I am documenting and sharing this whole journey here on my channel. So I will link it in the cards here if you're interested in just kind of catching up and seeing everything that we've been doing and did. So initially when we started to get pregnant, trying to get pregnant, we had been trying for a little over a year before we started going through fertility treatments. And we started off, we did 2 rounds of Clomid. We ended up doing 6 rounds of IUI, which is a whole other story, but if you didn't catch my last video on like the cost of fertility treatments, I went into that a little more in detail as far as why we did so many. So you'll definitely need to check that out. So 2 rounds of Clomid, 6 IUIs, and then we started IVF. And in between that, I also suspected that I had endometriosis, so I ended up having the laparoscopic surgery to see if I did, which I did, and had that removed. I had like they said it was between a stage 1 and a stage 2 of endometriosis. So they went in, they removed all of that. And then our next step was to go to IVF, which we could have done IVF without doing the surgery because IVF kind of bypasses endometriosis. But because I had a history of having really, really bad periods, like debilitating periods, I missed school, I missed work, I could not function, I couldn't walk, I couldn't move. I literally would just sit in a hot bathtub all day and all night. And if I wasn't in the tub, I was laying in bed with like a ridiculously hot heating pad on my abdomen. It just was very, very rough for me. So, okay, let's see if we can get through this without any more interruptions. So where was I? The hope was that if I did the surgery that it would alleviate some of those symptoms that I would get every month, which it did. So I'm glad that I did it. So the next step was for us to go through IVF, and this whole time just like getting ready for the surgery and then getting through that and then knowing that our next step was IVF, like in our minds, like we just had this feeling of like hope and okay, IVF is gonna work. This is gonna be it for us. You always just hear about IVF working for people, even people who have like the most like serious situations. IVF works. So we did IVF and we went through the whole like process. When they did the egg retrieval, they retrieved 7 eggs, and we immediately did a fresh cycle transfer, and it didn't work. And I remember just like feeling so lost and like, why didn't it work, you know? It was just like so devastating, you know? Okay. Here we go. Because you kind of just like pumped yourself up for this to think like this is gonna work. This is going to be it for us. There's nothing wrong with either of us. In fact, Chris's sperm count is fantastic. Everything inside of me looks amazing. So why aren't we getting pregnant? It was just really baffling to me and to us. And you know, when you go through IVF and then it doesn't work, it just is like a low blow. And it was the time period between doing that first fresh cycle and our first frozen cycle that I got into a really deep and dark place. For me, it was my rock bottom. If I've ever known a rock bottom, it was that time period. Okay. So yeah, it was like a really, really hard time for me. And I remember like we got the news and Chris just said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. He was like, I can't continue to watch you put your body through this physically and for you to go through this emotionally. Like, it's not fair. And as your husband, I can't bear it anymore. Like, I just can't do it. As much as I want to have a child, like, I just can't do this anymore. And that rocked my world as well, because I felt like I was just getting 2 punches to the gut, like back to back. And I remember that all took place on a Friday. Like, we got the news on a Friday. He told me that on Friday, and that weekend was just one of the worst weekends of my life. And I pretty much locked myself in our bedroom the entire weekend, because I was just really having a hard time understanding like why this was happening. I remember Chris saying to me, maybe this is God telling us this is not what he wants for us. Maybe him just giving us that no after no after no, like maybe this is him saying like, you need to stop. Like, this is not for you. And also, my husband had struggled a little bit with just the notion of getting pregnant and going through fertility treatments. There were times that he felt like maybe we shouldn't be doing that because maybe we were trying to play God ourselves. And I got that. I understood where he was coming from. I looked at it though in a different way, and I saw it as, why wouldn't we? Like, I feel like God put these things into place for people like us to be able to utilize. He made these people doctors in this specialty to help people like us. So I saw it in a different way, and he eventually saw it that way as well. But that also kind of played into his feeling of, God is telling us, no, like, this is not what we need to be doing. And I really, really, really struggled with that. So I locked myself in our room, not physically locked myself, but I pretty much stayed in our bedroom the entire weekend in bed, and I just cried and I prayed, and I just really had to have these conversations with God of like, why, you know? And I know we're not supposed to question him, and but it's hard, especially when you go through things like this, or, you know, cancer or whatever, you know, death, you know, and it was really such a lonely time for me, because I felt like at that point I no longer had my husband, and he honestly was the only person that I had, because in our family and our circle of friends, we were the only ones, and still to this day are the only ones that have ever had to go through fertility treatments to get pregnant. So nobody could relate to us, nobody could understand what it was like, and some people, like, I mean, we've lost friendships over it, because some people were like, it was like you had a disease and they didn't know what to say, they didn't know how to act around you, and it really just, it can be such a lonely place. And so now, like, at this point in time, I feel like I have no one, including my husband. So I just had to like sit there and have words with God, and just be like what are we doing here? Like, what are you trying to tell us? Is this a no? Like, is this your way of saying like, this is not what I want you to be doing? And then in my mind, I'm like, but why would you give us 7 embryos? Why would you get us to this point if this is not what we're supposed to be doing? So I really was in turmoil. I really struggled with that. And I honestly just prayed a ton, and I was reading scripture, and I'm a girl who has never read the Bible in its entirety, and I know I'm not alone in that. I know it. And I was going through and just like picking out scriptures of things that really spoke to me, things that talked about strength and faith and courage and perseverance and fertility and all of these things. And I started to just feel the Holy Spirit just working in me and like really helping to take that negativity from me. And I really just kept praying and just kept talking to him and asking him, you know, if this is not what you want. Okay, so also on that Friday, I'm like, I know I'm bouncing around, but like honestly, like my thoughts are everywhere right now. Okay, so also on that Friday when Chris had said, you know, maybe this is God telling us that we're just not meant to be parents. Is my makeup like really dark? I feel like it looks really dark in the camera, but anyway, sorry. He had said to me, what if you're not meant to be a mom? Like, what if we're not meant to have kids? Then what? And I just remember like standing there looking at him and I was like, I don't know if I would want to live. I don't know what my purpose would be to be here, because all I've ever wanted, oh my God, was to be a mom. So my makeup. And now that I am a mom, like to feel that joy and love that you get from having a child, like I can't imagine not having that. So that was a really dark time for me, and it took me a while to get out of it, but I did eventually emerge from it. And like I said, I really spent a lot of time just like in the Word and just talking and praying and just like reflecting. I also really, really love reading the Jesus Calling book. And it's something that I love to read every single day. It's basically, you know, it gives you every single day, you know, and it's crazy. Like, so in the mornings, like I would read it, and it's just crazy for the day that you read it, how it just like talks to you and it really speaks to whatever situation you're going through. It's just so crazy to me how like this knows your life, you know what I mean? Like, I know it doesn't really know your life, but it feels like that, and it's just so good. My mom actually gave this to Chris and I on our first anniversary, and it sits on my nightstand, and I love it so much. And the other thing that I did, so to help me kind of just get through it, like I said, I was looking up a lot of scripture and verses that were related to like wisdom and strength and courage and things like that. And I honestly just I took like a little journaling notebook that I have here, and I started writing down different scriptures. And then on the side here, I don't know if my camera's gonna pick it up, but I color coded everything, and I had the different categories. So I have worry and strength and trust and peace, worry and peace, guidance, faith and peace. I mean, all of these different things. And I just wrote down a bunch of scriptures that talked about those things, and I just read through them and just continued to pray and talk to God during this time, and just asking for some clarity and asking him to, you know, if we're not meant to be parents, if I'm not meant to be a mom, to please take this desire from my heart. I don't want to feel like this anymore. So these just really helped me. I mean, this one right here for worry, it says, You need not fear the future, for I am already there. Your future is in my hands. I release it to you day by day, moment by moment. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow. Live this day abundantly, seeing all there is to see, doing all there is to do. Don't be distracted by future concerns. Leave them to me. This one about strength. I am taking care of you. I am not only committed to caring for you, but I am absolutely capable of doing so. Rest in me, my weary one, for this is a form of worship. My invitation never changes. Come to me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest. Worship me by resting peacefully in my presence. Like, I needed that so bad. I was so weary. This one is a really good one for trust and peace. When many things seem to be going wrong, trust me. When your life feels increasingly out of control, thank me. These are supernatural responses, and they can lift you above your circumstances. If you do what comes naturally in the face of difficulties, you may fall prey to negativism. Even a few complaints can set you on a path that is a downward spiral. Cry out to me in my name. Affirm your trust in me regardless of how you feel. Thank me for everything. Though this seems unnatural, gradually you will begin to ascend, recovering your lost ground. When you are back on ground level, you can face your circumstances from a humble perspective. If you choose supernatural responses, trusting and thanking me, you will experience my unfathomable peace. And that for me was just so profound, and like, I need to be thanking him for everything in my life. Not just the good moments, not just the blessings, but everything. Thanking him for the dark moments, thanking him for the hard times, the difficulties that we face, because even in those dark circumstances, it's bringing me closer to him, and I need that, and I needed him during that time. And I just remember like reading these over and over and over again, and just talking to him and praying. And you know, I finally all of a sudden just emerged from the bedroom, like literally emerged from the bedroom, and just felt this overwhelming peace. And I remember talking to my husband, and I was like, okay, this is how it's gonna be. And I was normally like, you know, we make decisions together, but I was like, this is how it has to be, or like something's gonna change for you and I, because we've already gotten this far. We have these embryos. I feel like we need to exhaust every resource, use these embryos, and if at that point, by the last one, if we still are not pregnant, then we're done. And I will just have to deal with that. And Chris was like, okay, I can do that. So we moved on to our next round, and we did our first frozen embryo transfer. When we went to do that frozen transfer, they took out one embryo. So at that point we were left with 6 because the first one didn't take. So they took out the 6th embryo, or you know what, they took out one of them, and it ended up not doing well in the thawing process. So then they had to take out the 5th one, and they put the 5th, you know, our 5th embryo in, and lo and behold, that was Gunner. So, oh my gosh. Okay. Okay, I'm done crying. So anyways, that is that is our story of how we became parents, and it really truly was by the grace of God, and just trusting in him and relying on my faith, and just I could have given up at that point, and I didn't. And I'm so glad that I didn't, because we wouldn't have this incredible little boy that we have in our lives, and he's gonna be 3 in July, and it's just like so crazy to me. He just brings so much joy and laughter to our life, and so much love. And you know, I want you guys to know that if you are going through this, that it as lonely and as hard as it is and as dark as it can be, you're going to get through it, and you just need to trust in God and his plan for you, because that is the only way that you're going to get through it. And it is the only way that we've gotten through it. And now, like, our faith and our relationship with him is so much stronger than it's ever been. And now, like, going into this process, like, yeah, we had a little bit of a setback. We were hoping to have had our transfer already in March, and you know what? We were like, it's okay. Like, this is God's plan for us. Like, he didn't want it to happen right now, and it's okay. Like, we're okay with this. So, I can't believe I'm like actually sharing this with you guys, because it's just not something that I talk about. It's not even anything that I've like shared with my mom or family, or it's just, it was kind of my own little thing. So anyways, oh man, if you guys have stuck with me this long, thank you. Like, I'd be shocked if you made it this far into the video, but anyways, I really, really just want to encourage you, especially if you're struggling or just feeling like, you know, hopeless, and you just have to know that God has a plan for you, and he has a plan for each of us, and we just have to trust in him and trust in his plan, and know that our timing is not in line with his, and everything happens for a reason. I always say that. I'm a very firm believer of that, and I am a firm believer of the timeline of how things happen. And you know, we may not always know why they happen the way they do, or how, or we may never know. I may never know why we went through as long of a process to get pregnant as we did, but whatever it was, like, I would do it over again a million times, because it led to our greatest blessing ever. So thank you guys so much and sharing in your time with me. Please, please, please head over to Liv's channel and watch her testimony and her story of how her faith has gotten her through this time as well. If you are new to my channel and you want to continue following along in our trying to conceive journey, I would highly encourage you to subscribe. I am going to continue sharing as much of this process as I'm able to with you, and definitely hoping to share the whole journey, including pregnancy and birth and all of that. So definitely make sure that you're subscribed and that your bell notification is on so that you can stay up to date on those videos. I do upload motherhood and lifestyle content every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So not only am I sharing the trying to conceive journey, but I also have all the other stuff that I love to share on here as well. So I hope that you give this video a like if you just found it to be encouraging at all, and I just really truly thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your sweet words and love and support, and I just want to put all of that back out there to you as well, especially those of you who are struggling and going through similar situations, or just trying to get pregnant, or just all of it. So thank you guys so much. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.